You are listening to the All Burgundy and Go Everything Commanders pregame show powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. The Washington Commanders are traveling or have traveled to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets. The game starts in about an hour. I'm Wole, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Glenn, Ray, and Mo are out. What's going on, Glenn?
Nothing much, man. Another Sunday, Washington Commanders football. They eliminated, so we ain't got really nothing to play for except for draft picks. So let's keep fighting going.
Keep fighting on. I like the spirit. Just keep fighting on.
Yeah, just keep fighting on.
Hey, real quick, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy and Go Everything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, like this video and hit the red subscribe button. All right, here is the rundown. I will chat with Commanders reporter Candi Waller. She's live at MetLife Stadium. We'll talk about the pressure on Sam Howell to perform today, the unhealthy offensive line, a debate on whether a loss is best for the team or best for business. We'll also talk about the keys for Commander victory and provide our predictions. Then finally, we'll select our Commanders fantasy football selection for the day. It should be championship or semis for fantasy football. So I'm sure folks will want to tune in for that. All right, live from MetLife, we got founder of Seaball Sports and Entertainment and Bowie TV president / Commanders reporter Candi Waller on the pregame. What's going on, Candi?
Hey, everybody. Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas Eve. Like, is that a thing? Merry Christmas Eve. I'm trying. Oh, I'll say it too. I'm like, is that a thing? I'm not sure yet.
We can make it a thing. Everybody else is making stuff up, so let's keep it rolling.
Facts. Love you. Like your glasses. We said this prior, but we like your glasses.
Love the glasses.
I appreciate that, y'all. It seems to be making people smile when they see me with the glasses on. Then they smile. It's pretty some holiday cheer because it needs to be spruced up.
If you're a Commanders fan, you need something to smile at, right?
You need something to smile at. The glasses are better than anything else.
It's a good thing.
Glenn, you want to go up next?
Yeah, Candi. Who are some of the most notable and active and inactive players?
I'm gonna tell you the most notable. You ready for this one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyler Larsen. Larsen, the center, is the most notable. Here's why, and I posted a little bit about this on my Facebook. Here's why, and here's why I want people to pay attention to. Last week, when Charles Leno and Tyler Larsen, and specifically Tyler Larsen, got hurt, that was also around the time that Coach Ron Rivera made the decision to take Sam Howell out of the game.
Got you.
Jacoby Brissett went in. Mm-hmm. When he was asked about that in the press conference, he said he was doing it to keep Sam, to protect Sam. He thought that Jacoby's ability to, just bring his veteran expertise is better to navigate that situation. From my perspective, I can see a little bit of what Coach Rivera is talking about, because who comes in at center when Tyler Larsen is out is Nick Gates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
The protection.
So there's a protection challenge there that, given Jacoby Brissett's veteran knowledge and abilities, he can better navigate. It's not necessarily, it is technically a better situation, and because they are in the backup kind of second tier there, Jacoby and Nick have been practicing more together over the last several weeks. I say this is notable because I say Tyler Larsen is out. Nick Gates is starting. But then what becomes then of the starting quarterback today? If you were doing that to protect Sam and not try to win the football game.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was trying to win the football game, but you didn't ask me that.
Yeah.
About last week. But if you are doing it to protect Sam, then what are you going to do today? Is Jacoby going to start?
No.
Okay.
No.
But that's something to think about, and that's why I said that's notable. And Charles Leno is also out.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. Charles Leno out. But but let me stop.
No, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing. Go ahead. I ain't saying nothing.
I'm sorry, man. But we all know who the weak links are on this offensive line.
You ain't lying. I ain't gonna be the one to say it.
But we all know. I know, Kenny. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. But we all know who the weak links are on this offensive line. After we talked about Sam Howell being benched last week. You alluded to it. We talked about Ron Rivera's. You also talked about Ron Rivera's press conference. After being benched last week, how much pressure is on Sam Howell to produce today for this team?
Well, this is why I'm talking about Tyler Larson being out, right? If it was truly to protect Sam, then that means that you understand, or you should be trying to protect him for the rest of the season, right? If you already know that Sam lacks that, I mean, he's not a veteran, right? In this sense. So technically, you should want Jacoby, or just put Jacoby in, since that's supposedly the rule. But at the end of the day, Sam needs these 3 games. I think every single player needs these 3 games if they want to be on the Commanders next year, or if they even want great film out there to say, even though we were eliminated, I was still able to produce. See, in the real world, right? Being eliminated from the playoffs doesn't mean you stop playing.
True.
Not as a player. You try to keep your job, and even if you do not keep your job here, you need to be able to show enough good film that you get a job somewhere else. So he needs as many reps as he can get, as do all the rest of the active roster as well.
Got you. You talked about Tyler Lawson being out and Charles Leno being out. With those who are filling in, Nick Gates, I can't remember the backup left guard.
Oh, Lucas, Cornelius Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas. Will they respond today and make this team a little bit better? Will Larson and Leno be missed? We know Larson's going to be missed because he's better than Nick Gates. But will Charles Leno be missed? And will Lucas be able to perform better than Leno?
I think there was always the conversation about whether or not Cornelius Lucas should come in and be a starter over Charles Leno. I think he made a case for himself early on. But of course, they stuck with who they wanted to stick with in Charles Leno. But to your question, yes, I think especially for Cornelius Lucas, he has an opportunity. This is absolutely opportunity, as is Nick Gates. But I think Nick Gates you saw early on that he, definitely. His bark is a lot bigger than his bite out there. I mean, but Cornelius Lucas for sure, he wants to show improve today.
Gotcha. Is that offensive line decision? Is that a Eric Bieniemy, or is that a little bit of a more Ron Rivera situation?
Both, right? Eric Bieniemy does make a decision, but it is clear now that the decision doesn't necessarily go through or pass without a conversation with Coach Rivera.
Yeah,
got you. Over the 5-game losing streak, is this the most winnable game? They don't have Zach Wilson. Let's be honest. They don't have and this team, they don't have a quarterback, which I'm still scared because Danny DeVito, who we didn't think he would beat the Washington Commanders either, but went out there and had a game of his life. Is this the most winnable game for the Washington Commanders that's left on their schedule?
Yes. It is the most winnable game, because I think even if you're thinking about the 49ers next week and then the Dallas Cowboys after that, I think even their second stringers playing against this starting group would be successful. I think that's a very hard trade.
Cold-blooded.
That's
I thought I was cold. I thought I was a cold dude, but geez.
Everybody's been saying that to me lately, but I guess I'm just
my humbug.
I know. Don't be screwed. I'm with you though. I can hold you.
Go ahead.
I just said today is, and I asked the question: does Black Monday come a little earlier? Yes, this team loses today because I mean, like you said, and let me say this about they lost to second string with the Giants, lost to third string with the Giants. You back in that same situation today, back in MetLife Stadium. If you lose today, what happens? And like I said, does Black Monday come a little sooner than expected? I don't think it would, but you never know.
But Candi, with that, is it too little? If you do Black Monday today, right? That'll be
That's
tomorrow.
Christmas. That's right.
Tomorrow. Let's say we do Black Monday tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
On Christmas Day. Why couldn't you do it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
Great question. And I think that's just the thing, right? It's like, going back to what happened with the firing of Jack Del Rio. Um, and Coach Brent, can't even remember his last name right now. Coach Brent,
Mm-hmm.
after the Dallas game. Well, why you wait till then? There could have been a case made for you getting fired after the Bills game. You
Right.
could have gotten fired after the overtime loss to the Eagles. And you
Mm-hmm.
definitely could have gotten fired after that Thursday night football debacle against the Chicago Bears. So why you
Correct.
wait? And so it would be that again. Why are you waiting? It almost goes back to the releasing of Danny Johnson. Well, what you releasing Danny for now?
Towards the end
Even
of the season, yeah.
even with Cameron Cheeseman last week. I mean, Cameron's been performing like this all season.
Mm-hmm.
So you wait till you're eliminated from the playoffs to make a move. It's strange how those things are happening. That's why I wanted to ask the question. Like somebody might make a move now. Maybe it's not the ownership of the head coaching position, but it begs to see, okay, are they going to do something if they lose this game and how they lose it?
I would like to see him make a move.
If they lose,
I would like to see him make a move even on Christmas. I mean, if everybody else getting an audition, everybody else getting a shot, why not give Eric Bieniemy too?
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to show and prove, if you want to do it in front of facing the 49ers and the Cowboys, that'll be a tough feat, but hey, that'll be putting somebody's feet to the fire. Like, let's
Yeah.
see what you do.
At least get some time to work for that too. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you can't just. I feel like you're doing him. I would like to see him. I've been wanting to see him with the opportunity. Everybody knows that we listen to the show, but it's like, dang, it's kind of unfair, right? To just throw him against the Niners though, without him getting his like. I at least would throw him against the Jets or some of these other teams he played, the Rams or Jets, before I would threw him in against straight up against the Niners. Now you're like setting him up.
Mhm.
You're definitely setting him up for failure. You know what I mean? If I'm him, I don't know if I even want to take that as the first game. I'm playing that defense off the rip without really having time to, like getting my feet wet as doing this head coaching process. I don't know. That's a tough one. I would like to see him out there, but to be thrown in against arguably the best team in football, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely that would be it would almost be like setting someone up for failure.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like hey, we already down the line in the season, January 8th, 9th will be here before you know it. So
It's Candice, your mom. I'm gonna say shout out to her. She said Merry
yes,
Christmas. Shout
that's
out
my
to,
mom.
all right. Shout out to shout out to Miss Jacqueline. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I
Mama
mean?
Waller.
Yeah,
That's
Mama
right.
Waller. Shout out to Mama Waller.
Yeah, shout out. If I get that macaroni and cheese and all that stuff ready, come on.
We do a Christmas brunch. We do a Christmas brunch.
See, that's what we do. We do Christmas brunch as well.
Yeah,
So
I don't eat like that. I'm not Jerry. I don't eat like that for Christmas. Maybe some jollof rice if I'm lucky. But go ahead, though. Go ahead, Glenn.
The other point, with that being said, this ownership, we talk about maybe a Black Monday. Is this ownership really looking at making a change, or do you think this ownership really want to hold out for everybody till January 8th?
I think it's supposed to be after.
Okay.
That's what the word is, and it's true to that. I just was wondering, like, if it goes down really bad today, might they be like, you know what, let's just go ahead but then why not if you already kind of know that you are moving on in a different direction as soon as the season is over. And they'll have to move quickly. They'll have to move very quickly because one thing I was sharing on my show last week, Senior Bowl is the week before, I should know this, the week before Pro Bowl, the Senior Bowl, right?
You're right. Mm-hmm.
So they got to do, so was that the end of January, top of February?
It's like, it's around that time.
February. So that's going to be a lot to get a new
GM quick. They gotta get that clear.
Head coach, to get in here, to know who they want to interview, know who they want to evaluate, and who they're going to be on deck to be really looking at during that Senior Bowl week.
They will move. I think
move fast.
I think everything's in place. I think they have who they want in place.
They have an idea who they want.
Idea who they want. I think they've been working on it for a while. They know it's coming, and that they're able to make the move and make the announcement swiftly when they do move Ron out of his position.
Shout out to Ed Lane. Ed Lane said about Candy's glasses would have those glasses, but hey, this Commanders Jets game needs all the help possible in spicing it up.
That's and it's working. It's working. Every time somebody sees me, they're smiling. They're like, "Oh, you're so festive," and I'm like, "I had to do something."
Candy, before we let you go, predictions for the day. Let me get. We get your predictions. What
Oh
do you?
gosh, why you ask me that? They're running out. Just are running out. It's like hardly nobody here, y'all. I'm just being so. Whenever maybe some more people will start to come, but when they do a span of the crowd, just brace yourselves. Hopefully, more people will.
Is it worse? Is it worse than FedEx?
No, because actually a lot of away fans go to. It's not as bad as the Panthers Falcons game. It's not that bad.
Okay.
Not that bad.
Oh man.
Would it be bad if I felt like they were going to lose today?
Nah, that's
no.
I'm fair. I've been saying stuff like that all the time.
It's not bad at all. Go with your heart. Go with your heart. Go with your gut.
Yeah, I'm not like we don't do that. Like
we don't do that.
Like there's some fandom from us at times, but nah, when it gets to this point, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm sorry.
I don't know the pulse and feel of the Jets.
1, 2, 3. Locker check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And excuse me if I can't hear.
That's fine. That's cool.
I don't know the pulse and the vibe in the Jets locker room, but I do know very much so the pulse and the vibe in the Commanders locker room because I spent time in there. And if this team lost today, it would not surprise me. I don't get the sense of the fight that I was talking about a minute ago, where it's like you still got to get a job, you still have to keep a job, you still got to get a job, right? And I'm just not sensing that fight. I could be totally wrong, and I want to be wrong. This is one of the things that I want to be wrong. But I get the sense that because the Jets defense is still pretty good.
Oh man, it's good. It's good. They beat some dogs. They beat some really elite quarterbacks.
You know,
they beat the Eagles. They beat the I think they beat Buffalo too. I believe they beat Buffalo. They beat some really good teams.
Yeah, and that coaching staff is pretty good. Their biggest issue has been injuries.
And quarterback play.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not gonna treat. I'm gonna say this. I said this about Tyrod Taylor when the team had to play the Giants. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna talk about Trevor Siemian like he's
I'm not going to.
Got some longevity in this league.
And he's playing against Washington's defense too.
If he's playing against Washington's defense, he will probably be very successful.
About 250-yard day.
Maybe you'd be nice, man. Maybe 300. Garrett Wilson's a bad dude.
This is why I wore the glasses.
She wouldn't leave out inconspicuous. She wouldn't leave out hiding. But Candy, we appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate you. Have a great Christmas. Enjoy the family.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well, man. Thank you for rocking with us.
You all as well. Thank you so much for always asking me. It's the last road game of the season, and you all been rocking with me and having me on the show for every road game. So I really appreciate that, you guys. Thank you so much. I have a lot of fun.
Appreciate you, Candy.
Appreciate you so much.
All right,
thank you so much. See you.
Candy, man. Candy's awesome.
Candy's awesome, man.
She's always insightful, man. Always giving us the real. I like how she said. She was like, "Is it wrong for me to pick the other team?"
Not wrong at all.
Wrong, man.
Not wrong at all. Not wrong at all.
George had a comment earlier. He said, "Here is for this. I won't be here for the post game show, but hail to losing and getting that higher draft pick. Happily, only 2 games more after this. It's okay, George, man. You never know, man. This could be you never know, bro. You never know."
Yeah, you never know, man.
You never ever know. All right, so Katie mentioned it earlier. We talked about Hal a little bit, and about what happened last week. But do you expect Hal to have a good game against? As you mentioned, this Jets defense against this tough Jets defense, and if so, how does that happen? Because we talk about some of the players they have. We haven't talked about it, but they have Sauce Gardner. They have Reed on the other side of the corner. They have Quentin Williams, the D tackle who's playing, who's played elite football. You got Quincy Williams, his brother at linebacker. They are stacked defensively, to be honest with you. When they run that Niners style defense, so it would kind of get them prepared for what they have to see next week against the Niners. But knowing what we saw with Sam Howell last week, this week to me it gets a tougher defense. Man, how much pressure is on a young bull to kind of perform?
it's a lot of pressure on him to shut the naysayers up. Because people think, again, different narrative about why he got pulled. Ron Rivera had one narrative. Fans think there's another narrative of why he got pulled. And so, and he hasn't played well in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Right. So Sam Howell has to come out and perform today, and it's got to be tough for the secondary. Again, this secondary is not this Jets team. Their record is bad, and they're a bad football team, but it's not because of defense, right?
Not at all. Not because of that defense.
Yeah, it's not because of that. Is it because not because of this defense last week? Just this defense. I understand they gave up 30 points last week to the Dolphins. That's the Dolphins, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's harder when you have no quarter. I mean, I feel like to your point, when you have no hope at quarterback, like it makes it easier for your defense to kind of shrink. And like you said, it's the Dolphins. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I saw a stat earlier from PFF, Pro Football Focus, which was kind of interesting stat. It had Michael Carter, right, only giving up 215 yards allowed this year in coverage. And then you had Sauce Gardner only giving up 236 yards in coverage, right? And that's through this week, 16 games, 15 games. And so, and to the question, Sam Howell's going to have a tough day. Everything has to be quick. It can't be in coverage. It's going to have to be stuff against the linebacker, stuff underneath, stuff in space to give Antonio Gibson, Jahan Dotson, even Terry McLaurin opportunity to showcase their talent and speed. There will be. I'm gonna say this. I'm going to say there will not be too many deep balls today, right? Because these corners for the New York Jets are good.
Yeah, you got, like you said, you got Reed, you got Carter, you got Sauce. You know, Sauce to me is one of the elite corners in football. To be honest with you, and I don't want to be in it. I don't need this to be a Sam Howell. We talked about this during our podcast I don't need this to be a Sam Howell game where he is worried about force feeding Terry. To me, this is the type of game you do spread the ball around. You don't worry about one dude because this defensive unit is different. I honestly believe it's like probably arguably, and take out wins and losses. We got to take out wins and losses. Other than maybe the Cowboys defense that they've seen, I think the Jets. I mean, really, no. I'm gonna say I think the Jets defense is the best defense they've seen. And it doesn't. And I know, like, people look at the record, like, what do you mean? But like, as a collective unit and how they play football, and I even mentioned C.J. Mosley, a linebacker. Like, they're a stacked defense, bro. Like, they're stacked, and I just feel like they play a lot of man press. They are one of the better defense to me. I don't care about the stats, but just how they play football and when they come up to the occasion of what they have to do.
They physical.
They physical. Like, they're, to me, one of the best. They're the best defense this team has seen. So it's gonna be a tough one for this Commanders team, for Sam Howell to play well. But I think if Sam Howell plays it within himself, take the approach of like just spreading the football, don't key in, you know what I mean? Get the ball out quick. But these guys, when we playing some tight coverage, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to try to give you anything, you know what I mean? They're not a bend but don't break defense at any stretch of the imagination. They are an attacking defense in terms of they're not trying to give you an inch. They're not. I'm not saying blitzing, but they're not trying to give you an inch. So I just feel like, and they got a good pass rush too with Huff on the outside as well. So they're a very difficult defense to play against. But again, if Sam Howell wants to have a good game, I think it's very important that Sam Howell shares that football. I know we all want, like I said this before, and I've even had on my personal X account, I've seen a lot of comments about when I said that, you know, how Sam Howell is better suited on sharing the football rather than just keying on Terry McLaurin. And I got a lot of, I had some people agreeing, has a lot of feedback in terms of people not agreeing with me. But I think if any game, this is the game that you focus more on sharing the ball with everybody else. Because I know everybody likes the backup quarterback. This ain't a game I would like Jacoby Brissett to be in either, off the rip. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how fast you get the ball out, because these corners are different. They built different.
The one of the biggest difference, we didn't talk about this inactive person either, that makes a big difference and helps Sam Howell out, is Brian Robinson Jr. And he's not playing today. Yeah. I think we Candi broke it or talked about it, and I kind of agree with her. I think they kind of shut him down for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And he helps because he goes out of that backfield. He's a good catching running back. We got to see if Chris Rodriguez can be able to do that.
I don't think
More,
I think you're catching at the backfield. I don't even know if you can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you talk about spreading the ball around,
Yeah.
I mean that includes to the running back, right? That's
Yeah.
more of an Antonio Gibson type situation. That's more Antonio Gibson flair. So I'm thinking we may see a lot of Antonio Gibson today if he's in a position where he needs to share the ball and spread the ball around along with wide receivers.
No, I agree. I think this is definitely. I feel like this is a tight end game. A more of a tight end game. It's probably to me a Curtis Samuel type of game.
Okay.
And like you said, it definitely is it's an isolation of linebacker versus running back in an Antonio Gibson type of game. I think there are guys you can utilize in this situation. I remember watching, not Tom Brady with the New England Patriots. Like if you had stud cornerbacks like that, he had no issues going to the running back. You would get his running back may lead the team in receptions. That's how much he would do. And you were talking about the GOAT at quarterback. It wasn't about, hey, let's force the ball. This is prior to Randy Moss. You know what I'm saying? This is when they had like Deion Branch, and Deion Branch was his number one wide receiver. He had no issue going to his backs. I think it was Falk at the time. At this time, I'm thinking of it was Falk. He had no issue going to Falk. You know what I mean? Not Marshall Falk, but the other Falk. Yeah. Falk from LSU. And he had no issues going to Falk. So, I feel like this is the type of game where if you have cornerbacks who can make it hard for your receivers to get open, your premier receivers to get open. This is definitely, to your point, Glenn, this is definitely a game where you can spread them out and give the ball to the back and isolate this situation with the back and kind of be that guy that can get you first downs. Because it's about being ahead of the change. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I want Sam Howell to be. I want to be ahead of the change. It's not always about getting that explosive play. Yeah, you want to get the explosive play, but be ahead of the chain. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Do some of the things you were doing earlier. And I felt like and then when that play over the top or that 15-yard pass or 20-yard pass is open and you hit that pass. But I'm cool with taking what the defense gives you.
Yep. I want to put this comment up from George, which makes a little bit of sense. My biggest worry is that that this is a game where Sam Howell takes too many hits and get hurt.
I think it's possible. I mean, and we'll and I think it goes to the next comment. The next discussion of when we talk about Nick Gates being back on the offensive line and how hard it's going to make Sam Howell. Like, I do believe that it's going to make it difficult. Like, especially like what do we last remember with Nick Gates? He was getting killed. He was getting killed by Lawrence for the Giants. Getting killed. That's what we remember him last about what happened with him and with this team. Well, you're playing one of the best D tackles in football, Quentin Williams, too. And who's going to have to? And I'm sure they're going to line him up against Nick Gates and they're going to test Nick Gates. Yeah, it's scary because you do have that. You have a similar situation also in New York, right, Glenn? Also in New York. It was at MetLife, right?
I'm running for a song we sing in church. I'm running for my life.
Yeah.
Right. So, he will be running for his life today if this offensive line doesn't do what they need to do. If he doesn't get the ball out quick, if he doesn't hand the ball off, got to establish. If you want to protect your quarterback, you have to establish a running game.
I think in this game you may have to, because I think the offensive line, and I've always said like, I want you, if you're best suited to run the foot. If you can't run, if you are best suited to throw the ball to get yardage, do it. Like I'm a believer in that for EB. But I think in this game, because the offensive line is so porous, that you're going to have to try to keep Sam upright. You're probably gonna have to run the ball. Now the issue is gonna always be, and to me, like you're worse off now. Other than like we talked about, I think at tackle you're probably better with Lucas. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. I think you're better off with Lucas. And if it proves me wrong, then it proves me wrong. But I think you're better off at tackle with Lucas. But inside interior, I don't think you're better. And if you run the football, if you're not effective running the football, then that's a bigger problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, because now you're going to definitely be behind the chains, and you're going to be behind the chains against a defense you do not want to be behind the chains with. You know what I mean? So
anytime a defense can pin its ears back, anytime a defense can pin its ear back and just go, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
We know this team, this offensive line cannot stop 5 or 6 man pressures. They have a problem with 5 or 6 man pressure, especially when you get a delayed blitz from the linebacker or get a safety walking down and coming up. This team has trouble. So the fact is, regardless of who they pick in the draft, The line has to learn how to protect. That's why I asked Candi the question: who makes the decision? Is it Eric Bieniemy or is it Ron Rivera? Because if Ron said it in his press conference, made it seem like it's him. Okay,
Yeah, he did. It made it sound like it was him.
Tyler Lawson's hurt, so I got to put Nick Gates in. Well, I'm gonna take Nick. I'm gonna go ahead and take I'm gonna take Howe out because I don't want him to get hurt and put Jacoby Brissett in. But we also saw Eric Bieniemy call the same type of plays, and Brissett was getting it out quicker. And we talked about it. It was garbage time. No way.
And they played a different defense. I actually, so to the point, like it's wild. After I was listening to, and it's a great show. I recommend people listening to the show. It's a show is Santana Moss. It's on Commanders YouTube. Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and Logan Paulson, and he pretty much said it like the Rams play a different defense. You know what I mean? They play a different defense.
I should be on that show because I said it too on ours.
Yeah, exactly. They play different defense. Like with difference, yeah. They played a different defense. They weren't doing the same thing against Sam Howell that they were doing Brissett. But go ahead though. Go ahead.
But yeah, so they weren't doing the same thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead. We move on here. This way. Right now the Commanders have the fourth spot in the NFL draft. Yeah.
Oh, actually, there's a comment. Let me put this comment because it's a comment that said something you just said, kind of referring to it. Mm-hmm. Facts, and people keep saying a new quarterback is the answer, but I don't care who you draft. If your O-line doesn't improve, and this is from Donnell, doesn't improve, you're not going anywhere. So to your point, Glenn, O-line, fix the O-line. Like that's the issue. Like saying no quarterback's going to be that successful if you don't have an O-line. I agree. I do agree. Go ahead, Glenn.
Right now, the Commanders have the fourth spot in the NFL draft. Do you feel like it's the best for the Commanders to win or lose today?
It's crazy. I feel like, you want to, as a player, I think it's good to, play like this. For individuals, I think it's best for them to win. Like for Sam Howell, it's best for them to win. Right? The more you win, the more you get out of that quarterback discussion. Like you don't want to put yourself in that and play where a certain particular quarterback, because a lot of people are liking Jaden Daniels. I'm like not a fan of a player who just had like one really solid year in the NFL. Like I'm in college. I'm about a dude who's shown you multiple years in college. And I'm like, okay, like that's the guy. I am very fearful of the one year dude who's produced. You know what I'm saying?
Also,
like,
Washington has not done well with Heisman Trophy quarterbacks.
Yeah, that too. Like that's a whole different thing. So if Washington is I feel like if Washington's at 4, like the tackle is definitely the better player because he's been that guy for most of his career in college, right? And if you look at the pass rushes he's seen, he's gone against Ohio. He's like the one, like again, especially the one in Penn State. He's been battle tested. He's gone against defenses from Ohio State, defenses from Michigan. Those defenses have put up stud players in the NFL, right? So he's seen the best. So he's been around the best, right? So for me, I'm like, all right, I'd rather it's just like picking somebody from the SEC or something, but this guy's rated pretty high. So I'm always for getting the tackle, right? That's me. But yeah, back to the discussion. Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to make sure you maintain your spot in the draft. So for me as a fan of Sam Howell, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think it's better suited for him to win today. As a fan of Sam Howell, because I do want him to be the quarterback next season. That's me. If you're not a Sam Howell fan, I'm sure like a loss is good. This is what you want. It's pretty much what you want. You want a loss. But for the players, like you say, Glenn, it's important. And Candi said it's better to put good tape on the field, right? And you want to win. You don't want to look like a quitter. You want to like you tried your best to win a football game. And I do think that in terms, if we're talking about the players and morale, it's better suited for them to win because for individual play, for individual money, individual bag, individual like, if you want to go elsewhere or even if you want to stay on this team, it's best to show the best. It's best to show your best on the film today.
And I agree with you. I think this team needs to win. And I think this team organization, the players need to win. And I think they should come out playing to win. Yeah. You as a professional, you should never want to lose a game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that too.
As a professional, you should never want to do your job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go to my job every day thinking, I want to be mediocre. I go to my job, try to be the best at it.
Yeah.
So you go to your job in the game of this football game, and you go be the best. Because again, ownership's still looking, people still watching, new coach, whoever the new coach may be watching, GM may be watching. There's a lot of decisions that's going to have to be made, and a lot of change in the organization to change the culture, right?
Yeah.
To change the mindset. So you want people who can fit the mold of what you're trying to do or what is going to be done in this organization. excuse me, draft pick is one player. Go out and play. Go out and play. Go win the game. And
go ahead. No, continue.
No, that's my thing, man. Just go win the game. Hopefully the players will go and try to win this game.
Like, it's wild. I said this on somebody I responded to somebody on X, and it was like, somebody, and it was a good point. It's I'm a winner. Like, to want to lose is a loser mentality. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I want to win too, but I wouldn't mind losing. That's how it wouldn't bother me if they lost. You know what I mean? And I totally agree with the thought process. I feel like people who, like, if they win, I'm gonna be happy for the team. Am I disappointed that the season has turned out the way it is? Yes, I'm very disappointed. But if they win, I'll feel good about that win. It is what it is. And I feel like people, not to knock on anybody, but the majority of folks, not all, I feel like the majority of folks who have no issue with them losing have never played a competitive sport in their lives, or just weren't good at it, or may not have been good at a sport. Because I feel like if you were decent or good at a sport, or you're a person that, not even say professionally or whatever, or even or to a point where when people, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like, when you're picking players, right? Like, say we'll go to street ball or bat football or whatever, like backyard football. If you are like the last person picked, you probably don't get it. Why it's competitive to win a football game. Like, if you're the person that's always been like the number 1 pick or number 2 pick, there is an element of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have care of it. Like, there's a mentality, like, you have been competitive in sports. And if you're competitive in sports, you don't want to lose. Like, or I'll switch it. Like, you're the last person picked. And even in the sport, like, there's a reverse effect in that. Like, you want to prove people wrong, right? There's a mentality. You want to prove people wrong. You want to show folks that, like, I'm that person. I'm going to help this team win on this, that, and the other. I just feel like if you're that individual in sports, if you played sports, you kind of, and you played it at a good level or a competitive level, you never want to lose. Like, you don't want to lose. You know what I'm saying? So when folks think that way, I'm like, like, you keep saying it. I think you need to phrase it better. Like, you need to phrase it like, we going, like I want this team to win, but if they lose, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But if you out there saying I'm cheering for them to lose, I don't know if you've ever played a competitive sport. Played a sport competitively. You're on mute, Glenn.
My competitive juices doesn't allow me to just go out there and to throw a game.
Yeah,
to lose
exactly.
A game.
That's what I'm
My
saying.
competitive juices make me want to go win. I'm gonna put a couple of comments that George put up there real quick. George said, think of how different this team would have been if Washington had lost to Miami that year and Cincinnati had beat Miami at the end of the season. Washington would have picked first and got Joe Burrow.
All right, this is my thing about the Joe Burrow thing. I like Joe Burrow. I think he's a beast. But Joe Burrow, Washington don't got Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. That's all. And that coach ain't Zach Taylor. Like, it's Ron Rivera. I just want to throw that out there. Like, yeah. I agree. I like, they could have had Joe Burrow. I think I feel like every situation is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see success. Like, for instance, in Cincinnati, he ain't Burrow, but you see success with Browning. Browning in Cincinnati. He had a bad game against Pittsburgh. Over the weekend. This weekend. Sorry, yesterday. He had a bad game against Pittsburgh yesterday. But you do see, like, if you set things up, you have a good team, good offense. Like, he can be successful. He's been successful this season in relief of Joe Burrow because the team is better and the situation setup's better. I don't think under Rivera,
the O-line is better too.
That too. The O-line is better. Like, with Rivera, I just think it's different. Like, it's hard to say bring this quarterback here and he's going to change the world. Like, that, I just think that it's a hard discussion because of what Rivera has built here. I'm gonna be honest with you, what he's built here. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, Washington drafted Montez Sweat, right? And he only had, like, look what he's doing in Chicago already in a few games. Like, he's had 6 sacks here, but he already has 6 sacks over there.
6.5 over there.
Already. Like, already, what's different? He's in a different organization, a different system. And he's already he's already doing is putting special numbers. So I'm just saying, like, I just feel like it's a little. I feel like, yeah, we like to trade, plug in, and we need to plug in players and plug out players. Like, do it all the time. But I've always said, like, who's coaching that? Who's building that? It's the same thing I talk about Sean McVay. Like, we always talk about, well, then we had Sean McVay, and we let him out the building. Well, the Rams did something totally different than Washington wasn't going to do. They gave Sean McVay everything he wanted.
They gave him the keys to the car. Gave him the keys to the car.
They gave him everything. You want him, you got him. You want him, you got him. You want him, you got him.
They opened a checkbook.
Yeah,
and they was
willing
to take chances. Remember, they had that draft. They drafted with the Eagles and some other teams to draft away stuff.
Yeah. So they just traded away stuff. They traded a lot of first-round picks.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know a lot of y'all would want that after what happened with RG3. So I'm just saying, like, situations, other teams are different.
That's why Heisman, I said it again, Heisman quarterbacks don't do well in Washington. Y'all remember Heath Schuler? Enough said.
Yeah, he was terrible. Was he Heisman? I know he's just bad. Was he a Heisman?
Oh, yeah, he was Heisman.
I know he's the first round. I know he's the first. He was the first top. He was the top something pick. He was a Heisman. Oh, I don't know. I think Heath Schuler was Heisman. Yeah, he was. I don't know. Yeah, he could have been. I know he was horrible. I just remember he was horrible.
Yeah,
he was horrible.
And, you know,
he's actually the worst. To me, he's the worst Washington draft pick. Yeah, he could be the worst Washington draft pick. He's the one I used to call the worst Washington draft pick. He's the one I used to call the worst.
He was bad. He was bad. Yeah. So let's move on to this one.
They say he was second. He was second behind Charlie Ward that year.
All right, Charlie Ward, he was second. My bad. I appreciate it.
But he was high though. No, don't do it. Keith Schuler was special. Don't. He had a good year. He was special in college. I won't even do it. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, special. So with that being said, we talked about Washington. What are some of the keys of victory for the Commanders today?
Oh man, like to win the turnover battle. I think this is the game they have to win the turnover battle. It's definitely, you got a quarterback on the other side who turns the football over. This defense for the Jets creates turnovers. And I also, to a point, is to not have turnovers that result in points. Well, what I mean by that is the defense gets an interception and takes it to the house, a fumble recovery to the house, anything. Like, do not have the defense for the Jets score. I think that's a key. Because I feel like this game probably going to be a low-scoring game. So you can't have any type of, if you're Sam Howell, try to keep the ball safe, but also, by keeping the ball safe, not having this team not having turnovers result in points in terms of the defense actually scoring. Brian on Twitter said, on YouTube said, I like to see a little more balance on the offense.
I agree with Brian there. I got to agree with Brian. I want to see a little bit more balance on the offense. I want him to see at least be 60-40, run the pass. I want to see
you want to run the ball 60 times?
I'd rather see more running.
60% time?
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because if they're running the ball more, he ain't dropping back and getting hit.
Okay. What happened to averaging 1-2 yards a carry?
Then you have to do a quick game, like you talked about earlier. You have to go do your screens. You use more Curtis Samuel. You use more Antonio Gibson. You use Jahan Dotson in the slot. Get the ball out of his hands quickly, so you can alleviate and open up the linebackers.
What average yard a carry are you looking for that to happen? Like what average? Because I feel like things have to happen in a positive way for that to happen.
I'm looking for them at least like 3.5 yards a carry.
For 60-40. Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 yards a carry. Put them in front of the sticks, as you talked about earlier. Yeah. You averaging 3 yards per run, right? That gives you. And when you get down to your third down, you only need 4 yards. You know what I'm saying? So you get that. So you essentially quarter the way to what you need to get the first down, and then that third and 2, that third and 3 situation gives you a average of to keep your defense guessing on what Bieniemy is going to call next when you're 3rd and 1, when you're 3rd and 2, right? Because that's either run or pass down.
True.
And also position on the part of the field you're in, because it gives you opportunity. Okay, are they going to go for 2? Because at this point, this team should be desperate, right? This team should go for anything from the 40 on.
They should go for everything.
You should go for everything. Unless you're back up in your 20 or 30, you should go anything 3rd and 2, 4th and 2. You should go for it.
This should definitely be the real Riverboat Ron. Here you go. Brian also said at least, like to your point, at least 3.5 to 4 yards to carry. Totally agree. I think 4 yards to carry to me. I think you should be running the ball thoroughly. I agree with you, Brian. On Facebook, Alex says, "Let's go, Washington Commanders. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Get the W." Yeah, like we talked about. I think it's if you're a competitor, you want this W. Like you do want this W.
Yeah, if you're a fan, you want the W. You want to stop the chatter. You want to be able to have a good Christmas, knowing that the Washington Commanders won the game, right? Going into San Francisco going into Dallas, because guess what? Both of those teams have something to play for. So sure. I mean, I want to go. I want to go mess with Candi, but I don't think we see backups in Dallas game. They still have something to play for. Yes. The Eagles are not out of it yet, right? They can still. They still playing for a division. They haven't won the division yet, and so you're going to play your top players for the next 2 weeks. Washington is going to see Dallas's ones when Dallas come to Washington. Washington's going to see San Francisco ones next week when they come to Washington.
I want to read something George said in response. He said this prior though. So yeah, sometimes losing is necessary. Plus, Ron Rivera deserves to go out with the losing streak. So does all of his Carolina Panthers pals that have done such a rotten job rotten job the last 4 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I not agree with the they need to leave, but I'm not sure about the losing streak, George. They need to leave. Not sure what the losing streak, man. All right, what's your predictions for today?
Yeah, my prediction, I'm gonna say Washington. I'm actually gonna I guess I'm gonna pick Washington winning. Washington, let's say 2017. And I'm being very generous. I think it'll be lower than that, but yeah.
I'm gonna go Washington winning today. I'm gonna go 27-17.
Okay.
I think that you'll see Jahan Dotson get a couple of touchdowns today. I think Terry McLaurin will do well, and I think the running game will be effective today too. So I think that'll be okay. I think today will be a full game for the Washington Commanders. Hopefully, not trying to be a homer because they don't do well in MetLife anyway. But you want to see them do well, bounce back. The last couple of weeks have been an embarrassment. You'll see what the team is built of. Because you're playing a team that you should beat, and we'll see what team and how aggressive Eric Bieniemy is going to be, how aggressive Ron Rivera is going to be on defense. That's something we haven't talked about much either. We talk about the defense, which since Jack Del Rio left, I have not seen the difference.
Yeah, I haven't. Actually, I'm going to read some other scores. George has 24-7. Brian has 17-13. Also, I want to read off a couple more comments that Brian give him his flowers. Brian said it should also help us talk about the running game. It should also set up the play action pass. Yeah, totally agree with that. Brian also put out, I want this win, and whatever draft pick we get, we'll just have to make the best of it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think whatever draft pick they get or they're slotted for, it will be a very, very good player. Will be a very, very good.
I'm not mad at offensive linemen, and I'm not mad at Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not mad at all those individuals.
If you Marvin Harrison fall to you, you got to take him.
Oh, just ask you a question, and because EB did come out and say like a second year with Sam Howell would be beneficial. He would kind of be for it. In a presser he had during the week, and Monty on Facebook has a question. He said, "What do you guys think we will do with EB at season's end?" So I'll start with you, Glenn.
I hope he stays. Me personally, right? This just is me personally, not a fan bias or anything else. Me personally, I think EB being a head coach in Washington will be a good thing. Okay. Because I'm an old school nature type coach. He's an old school type of guy. He gets that second development with Sam Howell, and he gets to run this show. We see that it kind of works a little bit. When you take ex-players like Antonio Pierce, look what he's doing in Oakland, right?
Yeah.
Guys that have a mindset, that have a disciplinary mindset. We talked about it on our podcast as we went through Marty Schottenheimer. We went through all those guys who came in with this team, the Joe Gibbs, who had a disciplinary mindset, the Richie Pettibones, the Greg Williams, those type of guys are old school, and this is the way that you're going to do it. And if you can't do it our way, you got to go. I think that's what EB needs to be, and I think this organization needs to have. Nothing against Gruden, Ron Rivera, any of the past coaches, but I think this time has to change where EB can still connect to the young guy. Why would you want to change EB out of a position where you have a quarterback who's excelling right now? Right? As a youngster. We all saw what happened to Jason Campbell, right? We all saw what happened to Jason Campbell. Matter of fact, we didn't even got to go that far. We all saw what happened to Dwayne Haskins when he went through coordinator shifts while he was there. So again, I want EB. I'd rather EB to stay. And if he can't stay in the head coaching role, it would be cool if whoever comes in keep him as offensive coordinator.
Yeah. So my thing is, I like you. Would love for him to be a head coach, but I don't think it's going to happen. I would love for him to, but I do think that depending on the coach, I do think he could be an offensive coordinator, depending on which coach comes here. Like, I'll give an example. I mean, I'm just saying, giving examples because I don't think there's any loyalty to anybody in the NFL for this individual right now. Like Jim Harbaugh, I think he would keep an Eric Bieniemy because he used to be a quarterback in the NFL for the Chicago Bears, and there's no loyalty to guys right now that are out there. Like if you watch what Jim has done, even with Jim Harbaugh has done in Michigan, he's pretty much gone through some coordinators and he's tried to like modernize his NFL. He's trying to modernize, his offense in Michigan, like because he likes to run the football. So he would bring in a younger dude who's run more spread or whatever. Like he's done that in the past. So I do think that he would be somebody more likely to keep an Eric Bieniemy. I know Bill Belichick's out there. A lot of people been like they've kind of been rumored for Bill Belichick, and I'm not sure Bill Belichick would keep Eric Bieniemy because I think that he has loyalty to guys that he's coached.
They're bump hits.
That's not even that. Is that he has loyalty to certain people, like Josh McDaniels is out there, and I think he would bring him in the second. Like I think he would bring him in the second. And I don't think Josh Harris would argue with it because it's Coach Belichick. You know what I mean? Like it's clout. It's Coach Belichick.
Yeah, but I think going off a name alone, man. Let's see what I mean.
I'm saying that's Josh Harris though. Like
that's Josh Harris because
that's what I'm saying. Like Josh Harris has been like again. I said this before. We're going off Josh Harris's track record in Philadelphia. Like that's what he's done. Now, could he do something totally different in the NFL? Yes, he could definitely do something totally different in the NFL. But we can only go off of what we've seen with Josh Harris. I don't watch hockey. I watch hockey, but I watch the Caps. I don't watch other teams. Yeah. So I can't tell you with the Jets. I mean, the New Jersey Devils, what he's done with the Devils because he owns the Devils. I can't give you that, but I can because I watch a lot of basketball. I can give you what I've seen with him in basketball.
The Sixers,
with the Sixers. Even players. Like he helped pull the trigger, not help, but he's part of the process that got James Harden. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? Like these are notable players.
But he also the process that kept Ben Simmons too. So,
but that's a notable player though. First round pick. That's still a notable player. Like he likes from what we've seen in Philadelphia, he likes notable players, and notable coaches. You know what I'm saying? Even Morey he was in Houston. That was a notable GM.
Yeah.
So it's like that he goes for a proven commodity. So if I'm gonna lean, if those are the coaches that are out there are notable dudes that have won, I would say that the chance of EB staying for Harbaugh, yes. Belichick, no. If any young offensive minded coach, no. He's not. No. I mean, if they're gonna, he's not gonna be. His best case would be a defensive minded coach. Like that's the best case. Like if a defensive minded coach comes here, I do think that he can. He could be the head coach.
What would be crazy would be you had Tomlin and EB, but that's not gonna happen. Tomlin still winning games.
Huh?
Mike Tomlin still winning games.
Yeah, because he just won. Yeah, I think Tomlin's going nowhere. I think a lot of people.
He's not going nowhere.
Tomlin would keep EB. So that too. I think Tomlin would keep him. I think Eric Flores is out there. The people have been saying that he's
Flores is also
Brian Flores. Sorry, Brian Flores is out there, and a lot of people have been saying like, and I do think Brian Flores would keep an EB. I believe. I think he would keep an EB.
Brian Flores is a self-named coach.
Yeah, I know. Brian Butler said not really feeling EB's play calling, but I'd give him one more year to see what he can do with a decent O-line.
That's what I'm saying. Brian, that is the good comment. One of the best that I heard because people.
It's fair, right?
It's fair. It's fair. Mm-hmm. It's fair.
Give him the right situation, right? Yeah. Before we start to judge it. Kenny, what's up, Kenny? I think it's my homie Kenny. He said, I think they should hold on to EB.
Yep. And then shout out to StreamYard while we're here because this is the first day StreamYard allowed comments from Twitter to be put on StreamYard. So
for really? Oh, that's what it is?
Yes, it is. Kitty, my man, you're the first Twitter comment for us because StreamYard has now allowed Twitter comments to be put on StreamYard.
Oh, so we're not. You don't have to be a subscribe dude anymore.
Not on Twitter. Not on X. Sorry, not on X.
X.
Sorry.
Okay.
X. You can put comments up.
I thought you had to be a subscriber. I thought you had a blue check mark to be. I thought because I tried. I don't know. Maybe you're right. You're right. I just saw the X too. I just didn't pay it no mind.
Yeah, man.
That's good though, man. That's good. George said, remember that the first coach in the trust the process era was Brett Brown. Was a Pop disciple, and he wasn't such a big name. Yeah, but I'm not sure. That's a good point. But that was the beginning of the process. That's the beginning. Well, you know what, George? I'll give you that.
But
That's
he came.
true.
But Pop's a name though, and he came from Pop.
Yeah, so
And
that's true.
San Antonio was on that. And San Antonio was on that winning streak where they made the playoffs and they had a great team.
That's a good point. So I guess George,
streak.
I would say that he would have to come from a great system. So I know a lot because, for instance, a lot of people want Ben Johnson, and I don't know if Campbell has already been from the Lions. I don't know if Campbell's a bigger name to come from the tree. That's why I told folks, like a lot of y'all want Ben Johnson, but the only dudes that have been productive under, like the young dudes that have been productive have come from one tree. Like have come from the Mike Shanahan tree. You know what I mean? I'm not going to even say that the Mike. So you got Kyle, you got Sean McVay, you got
my man down in Miami.
Connell, yeah, McDaniel, like all them dudes that y'all like glorify comes from the one tree. So if you do want somebody, you gotta look at the San Fran tree. Like, to be real with you, like even look at the defense. Like look at defense. Look at D'Amico Ryans now who in Houston. Like he young. I wanted D'Amico. I talked about D'Amico.
And doing his thing, he brings energy, brings discipline, brings excitement, so and he got his players believe in him. So they believe and they trust him. And we talk about this earlier. And look what happened in Detroit, right? When I forgot the name of the head coach,
Campbell.
Campbell came. He brought excitement. He brought a different swagger. He brought his flair, his attitude. And you look at the Detroit Lions, they took on his persona, took on his attitude, and within 2 years, look where this team's at. They're gonna be a playoff team. They may actually have a home playoff games because they took on the persona of the coach. You need a coach who can come in with a team, take on his persona, his attitude, his mindset, his toughness. Unlike the team coaches that we've had in Washington for the last couple of years with Gruden and Revere, teams have taken on their persona and gone backwards.
Yeah, so he says, doesn't that point arrow towards Bobby Slowick? Sorry, George put that. I'm reading it. So George said, doesn't that point the arrow towards Bobby Slowick? And let me ask you, if Robert Saleh were let go by the Jets, would you consider him for Commanders head coach? I like him a lot. I like Robert Saleh a lot. I think I would consider him. I think he has the mentality. I think he would be a great coach. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he would keep
Eric Bieniemy.
I think he would be a great coach. I think Robert Saleh. So I kind of pray that they would let him go because the defense would be much better. Much better.
And you got to keep EB. But we got to get ready to get out of here. The game's getting ready to start.
Yeah, it is.
Getting ready to start. A real quick family prediction. Fantasy predictions today. If the fantasy, you're the people in your fantasy playoffs, you got a Commanders player. Who do you pick? Who I'm
gonna go with Antonio Gibson. I think he's gonna have a big game in the passing game, so I'll go with Antonio Gibson.
I'm gonna go Sam Howell. I think this is the bounce back game for Sam Howell, and I think he does very, very well.
See, thank you all for tuning in. Actually, man, y'all pretty much had this going a little longer than expected. Glenn's right. Thanks for rushing this, Glenn. Because I'm out here listening to everybody. You know what I'm saying? True be so. Hey, don't forget, before we close the show, don't forget to tune in to our post game show directly after the game. We'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and X Live as well. So tune in, check us out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. I like our All Burgundy and Go Everything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel as well. If you're new to our YouTube channel, hit the red subscribe button. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Anyway, this has been a dope show. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Team and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. For ages, you dig? Deuces, we out.